Alright, bringing it back for the final match of the LJL Week 3, and we have quite the closer coming up. We're going to bring Sengoku Gaming back to the stage to take on CGA, fresh off of their win last game. To spend a little time talking about that last game, definitely was one that was a little bit of an interesting one. CGA definitely kind of took an interesting route with splitting things up to having the Casio go down to the bot lane and then having the Kalista move into the mid lane. That being said, it's a little bit, you know, like, it's a little, you know, you could argue, oh, maybe a little bit gimmicky. It did accrue a decent CS lead over Pink, but one of the things that I think is most worth taking away is it proved that CGA can play a mage in the bot lane, which is very, very important to me when it comes to how are you looking at this team as they draft. Because it's not exactly like Rascal Jester has the weakest bot lane, but being able to pilot Cassiopeia at all in the bot lane is a huge benefit to your team in terms of what you can draft, what options open up to you. I'd love to see what other picks CGA has ready in the bot lane. Things like Syndra bot lane we've seen as a popular counter to Aphelios. Cassio has kind of come in a bit as an Aphelios counter. Different things like that. So I'm very curious to see what CGA is going, or what other kind of tricks CGA has up their sleeves when it comes to those kinds of picks. Also, Arya just looked wildly comfortable on the Kalista. It's very, like, few actual mechanical errors coming out from him. So I love seeing that CGA kind of, although probably not against the best team, but, you know, they show their hand a bit. They say, okay, we can make these plays. You know, this is something that's in our repertoire. We're gonna, like, lay down to show a couple cards here, and other teams are really going to need to worry about respecting that when it comes to the later ends of drafts. And if Sengoku were watching the match, gives them definite food for thought as we approach this game. That being said, I think CGA overall played the comp well. The team fights were a little bit scrappy at times, but I do feel like their objective management overall was solid. I felt like their laning was just consistent. It's going to need to be against a team like Sengoku, especially if you're going to be drafting team fight carries like Cassiopeia and things of that nature. Against a team like Sengoku, you're going to need to really be put to the test, as Sengoku has proven themselves time and time again as a great team fight team. Amazing late game macro. But we'll see how things shake out for this one. I definitely think this is another game that draft will be very, very important in. I'm curious to see what kind of other things CGA pulls out here, as well as I think these are both kind of titans in the LJL mid lane that we will see. Pyrian and oh gosh, I'm drawing such a blank. I looked at Unica and I was thinking about his name when I walked into that sentence. Excuse me. Pyrian and Arya. Hard to forget Arya, but I did just. I'm sorry, I had a total moment there. It's a little bit late here, and my brain's starting to melt, but we'll hold through to the bitter end. And what a match to wake you up as this one. Now, one thing I will say is that Blank is a very experienced and seasoned jungler, and the level of experience difference here is definitely one that I worry for Unica, as not a whole lot of other junglers are really going to kind of expose, or maybe not expose, but not as many junglers put on the same amount of pressure as people like Boogie, but when you're when you're playing against a rookie, I definitely feel like Blank has the experience that he can really make you work to stay in this game if you are the newer player coming in. All of that being said, we'll get right into picks and bans here. Callista, Trundle, TF, and Karma all reaching the ban table. Interestingly enough, Sengoku didn't opt for the blue side ban of by taking off the taking off the Karma. Red side going to be opting into that one, as Ash is actually going to also be taken off the table here. Will CGA let the Varus through? Remains to be seen. Now, it's a little, I was going to say, a little bit risky to pass over a Varus when things like Zoe and other poke carries are still available, but Sengoku going to be drafting up the Ezreal right away. Leaves them a lot of options in terms of comps that they can go. I do actually I think Ezreal is a fine blind pick here if you don't want Aphelios, as it opens up multiple opportunities of what you can play, what you want to play. It's not a flex pick itself, although we have seen some Ezreals kind of popping up in the jungle in a bit of solo queue. But it more so is just a pick that is comp flexible. Ezreal can kind of work in multiple directions, while CGA going to be drafting Graves and Thresh right away, holding off on the Aphelios pick until their later on picks, or possibly thinking of passing it up. I do kind of like the idea behind this one of CGA. Personally, I would possibly like to see things like a set or something a little bit more flexible than a Graves, but Aphelios will be coming in. And that's sort of what I was going to get at, is you pretty much know CGA is going to take the Ezreal when it comes to them, but drafting Graves Thresh, you get a little bit more information about what you're playing into before you pick up the Aphelios. I think that's a great reserve to have in this draft, as Aatrox is going to be hitting the ban table immediately after. Sengoku have a couple of their own bans to be looking at. Zoe going to be taken away, so they're not opting into a poke comp of their own. While Wukong soon to follow for the top side. Renekton still up as one of those very threatening fighty top laners. While on the side of Sengoku, last ban, wouldn't be surprised if we saw something like an Azir ban come out, but they are actually going to be the ones who take Renekton off the table. I wouldn't be surprised to see Sengoku work their way into an Azir here, just to have that kind of like shredding team fight champion, as Gango's going to be picking up an Ornn for the top lane. Camille would be an interesting one, to be sure, taking that up into the top lane to have something that can fight with the Ornn. You do get that extra true damage coming off of your Q, so has potential there, to be sure, but is a bit risky because you're already looking at CGA's comp and you can see the sort of team fight orient that they have. So Camille definitely needs to do her job well to keep anybody locked in on the side lanes, as Pyrion is going to be locking in the Echo there. Or excuse me, the Galio there. And for the side of CGA, I would be very Corki is here. It's a little bit risky seeing those characters. I wouldn't mind seeing something a little bit with more lane presence. Of course, Corki is fairly safe, so isn't as bad as something like, say, an Azir, but not a whole lot of strong lanes to be playing around if you are CGA in this one. That being said, Sengoku's overall damage is kind of low. Galio, no slouch in the damage department, but is not going to hold up to things like a Corki later on in the game, as well as Camille, very just single target damage heavy and is not going to be nearly any use in a team fight. So I'm a little bit worried for Sengoku's comp in this one as far as how much damage they will have, but it also kind of works to defend a Lee Sin when he goes in, or a Camille when they go in. You have very mobile mids to kind of move around the map, see what you can get done in other lanes. I will say that given enough time, CGA's comp definitely is kind of the winning comp here when it comes to scaling. My worry for CGA is what happens early game and how much does it cost you to get towards that late game period. On the other end of things, Sengoku, it's hard to tell because these aren't exactly champions that pose a huge early game threat. You're not looking at a Callista, you're not looking at, say, a LeBlanc who has a little bit more early potency, and you're not looking at things like a Renekton in the top lane. So it's a little bit, I'm tentative to say that Sengoku will be able to get an advantage early, but we'll see how things go.
さあ始まりました LJL2020 サマースプリットウィーク3ゲーム8戦国ゲーミング vs クレストゲーミングアクトの試合スタートです。それではまずはコーチインタビューから見ていきましょう。
And while we're loaded in here, fairly traditional runes, pretty much top to bottom. And the early parts of this game are definitely going to be the testy ones. If I was to sort of look over CGA's draft, Graves might not have been the pick that I was looking for, but the smokescreen does offer a bit of utility to kind of controlling where champions go, as well as a slow to kind of add easy rockets for the Corki. But it's really about having a self-sufficient jungler on the side of CGA that Unica kind of gets to pilot a Graves. It's self-sufficient. It doesn't need to rely on lanes too heavily, which given the current state of things is kind of the point. And on the side of Sengoku, this honestly could have been a game you drafted a very early pressure jungler because these are just some rather weak early game champions that they'll need to take advantage of, as well as Ornn being the only non-weak champion, as he's never entirely weak. It would be all the more benefit if you're able to pull something off on the top side of things, as Opperman will be doing his best to try and get some damage onto him there. Grendel in a little bit of an interesting spot will land a Flay, but nothing that he needs to be too worried about going for. As a little bit of the early HP trades going the way of Yutorimayashi in the spot lane. And while we're also kind of looking at just the runes here, one thing I do actually kind of notice is Arya is going for the presence of mind, and the Legend of Alacrity does help kind of add to his scaling when it comes to Opperman taking a turret shot there really set that trade back for him. He should be able to at least safely get this CS, but that might have just botched his lane there. It is not what you want to be seeing into Nap, who still has health pots to spare. Meanwhile, Unica's going to walk across a ward here on his way across. Going to give Blank the info he needs to rotate up for the opposite crab there. And there's a possible dive opportunity on the top side. I'm wondering if Blank is going to be looking for it, given that he's kind of run up to that side of the map already. But Opperman definitely in a little bit of a worse for wear position now that Nap is already able to start buying ruby crystals. The HP just starts stacking up when he does. Hasn't had that most recent nerf that limits the amount of HP he gets when buying ruby crystals. But you can see Unica's actually going to probably be first one up to the top side. A decent amount of vision, but no tri-bush vision. Opperman may need to be careful where he treads as he's slow pushing this wave in. Pyrion, not exactly level 6. There's no opportunity to get up there as well, but a great vision cone to spot out Unica. As Opperman will need to respect that one if he wants to avoid anything just yet, as not a whole lot of action very early on, but understandably so, as Blank trying to work his way towards 6 to get a great kick opportunity. We'll see if Pyrion's able to find anything here. Just flashes right into it. I love the ambitious play from Pyrion. That is exactly how you need to get an early gank off. Just flash right in their face. Don't allow any time for Arya to really react. Flashing too late there is not going to save you, as Blank also beautifully lands the first hit of the Sonic Wave before following it through. He waits out the Flight of the Valkyries from Arya there. Beautiful stuff by them to secure first blood for Blank in the jungle there. And with both flashes burned, it's much easier for Pyrion to continue trying to make plays onto Arya happen. Well, speaking of plays, Opperman is feeling a ton of gameplay in the top side, as Grendel's going to find a good hook here. Flay into Gango there is only going to get so much damage before Yutomi Aoshi and NT are going to trade a little bit of damage back. And now it looks like Blank is finding his time to go onto the top lane. Not sure where Nap is roaming. Is going to get into his jungle to place a ward, but Blank actually kicks the vision cone the wrong way. Nap should just be ignoring him for now, honestly making him run the far way away from his turret. Opperman might be able to salvage a freeze out of that lane in the top lane. I can't quite see. No, it looks like it did end up getting under turret. Would have been actually an amazing setup for Opperman if he was able to freeze that. It looks like Grendel is the one looking to help out the mid lane here. If Pyrion is just going to walk up and face check, he will be able to find him. No flash, so Pyrion might just be dead to rights here. Is going to heal up. The shield comes in. Is that enough to get away? Blank is leaving his mid laner behind. He will not. Oh, he has to flash for the kill. And he will go down in the end, but ultimately a 1-for-2. Blank a little bit overambitious going for Arya there. Easily could have just turned around to take Grendel down there and possibly even save his mid laner. He did have kick up as well. But in the end, 1-for-2 to salvage that play. Unfortunately, did have to burn his flash, but good for Blank to be in that position, as Arya actually just still secures a kill one way or another. Grabs an extra support, grabs an extra assist to boot. Well, Unica's going to just solo the Drake here. They know they're on it now, but Blank really doesn't have an opportunity. Smite Fight's going to come in for this one, as it's going to go the way of Unica. Gets the extra burst there from the Q. Good sidestep on the Sonic Wave. It's going to deter that play from getting any further. If it did land, Unica wasn't exactly too worried. He did have Lantern to rely on. Also, Blank didn't have a ward up to be able to hop out, or to go for an insec onto Unica, but helps nonetheless. And good sidestep on that True Shot Barrage. Gango easily could have been chunked out very, very low, and we'll be able to stick around for now as Unica's wandering down here. The pink ward will spawn him no matter how he comes in, so is just going to opt to back right outside of Fog here. Actually, he is looking for an opportunity here. Sengoku see him, and they're kind of trying to see how much time they can draw out of him by keeping him here. Meanwhile, Blank and Pyrion passing over the blue buff there. Eventually, Unica will spot the red ward as he goes to clear that one away.
デワードをして顔を出すというのがユニカ選手の本来の目的のように感じますね。
And flashes are returning to the mid laners here, so if Blank wants, he needs to make a play happen soon. If he really wants to look at punishing Arya in the mid lane here. That being said, it looks like for CGA, they're targeting the bot lane. 4 members strong here. Are they going to be able to pull off this dive? That's a full summoner bot lane, so it's a little bit risky, but it looks like Yutono Miyashi is going to try to fight this one out. Final chapter is going to come in. Not going to find any roots, but zone away for now. A lot of summoners burned. Yutono Miyashi might just get bounced around here. The aggro beautifully juggled to be able to secure that kill. They can't really dive for the cat. No one really high enough HP to finish that one off, as CGA beautifully played actually there to keep bouncing the aggro between champions. A lot of low HP bars, but they get the kill in the end. Well, Blank is looking for an opportunity onto Gengo here. He has kick, and not a lot of mana on Gengo. The ultimate's gonna miss, so no opportunity there. Gonna dash forward, has Sonic Wave. Doesn't even need to use the Dragon's Rage. He's just gonna be able to solo Gengo down there. A great pickup for Blank. The unfortunate side for Sengoku is having all of these kills on a Lee Sin will eventually not amount to nearly as much as Lee, a little bit more playmaking oriented, but we'll see what kind of bullying he's able to kind of emit onto Unica or possibly onto the rest of the map. So he's going to spawn up the Rift Herald here. They might just be able to knock this one down by themselves. Teleport coming in from CGA. They're looking for a flank opportunity as Sengoku's going to start backing away, but it's too little too late for the Forge God to land in onto Yutono Miyashi. He's forced to flash away. He's just going to get blown up by Nap, as now they make the turn to just try and chase down Blank. The lantern gets thrown out, but Blank gonna get away to safety in the end. And that was just sort of Sengoku greeding out a bit to try and get the turret. You hope it was worth it, as now CGA will have their time alone with the turret in the bot lane. No Shelly means it'll take a little bit longer, but Opperman happy to be farming the top side alone for some time. And as we're kind of resetting here, overall, losing that kill helps keep the gold even for CGA. Slight advantage over to Sengoku for gaining that first turret gold, but it's all really coming at what cost? Especially in a comp like Sengoku's that doesn't have the most amount of damage. Setting this Ezreal behind at all just feels so risky for Sengoku, but we'll see what CGA are able to do, as they still have a ways to go before their items are online and ready. CGA just for now will be content to bide their time. No real worrying objectives up. Of course, you would like the Cloud Drake just to be closer to either an Ocean or an Infernal Soul, but their opportunity may come as Sengoku's looking at the top lane of things. That is a full HP Ornn. This is not a diveable target. I don't know how Sengoku planned to finish off this one. Blank gonna start things up by grabbing the aggro, transferred over with the Hextech Ultimatum, as Pyrion's gonna be the one to walk that one out. A beautiful dive, actually, played out by CGA. I am impressed. That was a full HP Ornn with Flash that they were able to knock down. Just a beautiful juggle of aggro. Starts off with Blank, moves to Opperman, and he's able to dodge that one out with the Hextech Ultimatum, transferring that to Pyrion in the end. Will help Opperman out in that side lane when it comes to just splitting against Nap, but Pyrion's gonna get kind of walked down for some damage here. Doesn't need to be too terribly worried. But Gengo and Unica just going to cash in on a couple more turret plates before those are taken off the table. But a teleport's going to come in here. That's going to be a huge taunt, and that's going to be a dead Gengo in a few moments now as he's trying to kite it out. But Blank gonna be picking up the kill there. 4-1-1 on the Lee.
完全に先ほど
Not known for damage, but at this point,
ですよね。
it's very hard to deny the Lee Sin there. He can kind of solo out Grendel a bit.
さあこれによってまたしてもキルをゲットは戦国。
Meanwhile, Ezreal just doing his best to kind of keep up and farm.
パーなるか多い
Unfortunately, it was the person going down for a lot of those plays, so
地形もなくなってますから。
slowly trying to accrue his gold back in his favor as
それぞれを持っているので、まあどちらのチームにもかなり大きな恩恵あると言えますね。
タワープレートゴールド、戦国すごいですね。
I'm a little bit interested to see how CGA continue on from here when it comes to this next Rift Herald, as
そうですね。だから中盤以降
they aren't exactly in a very strong position. Gango's still trying to get towards his Infinity Edge.
まあそこへ
Arya is a little bit more online, but it somewhat feels like this is an objective that CGA can afford to give up if they really need to.
ミッドレーンのアリアと並ぶぐらいですか。
すごいですね。ただ逆に言えばアリア選手、ガンゴ選手もかなり
That being said, Unica is here in force and is going to be able to grab the Rift Scuttler there to make sure they have vision.
言えないですね。
あと気になっていたその戦
And it looks like they cleared the area out, so Unica's actually just going to start that one up. I don't know if the True Shot Barrage saw him on it,
今のところ
but you can see Lee poking his head around. It's a good trade from Mitoto Miyashi onto Arya. It's just going to get him about half HP. A hook found onto Blank there. He's going to go down. Cat cannot save him from that one. A wonderful find from Grendel there will mean that that Rift Herald is relatively free, but they can push up the mid lane turret for now.
さあ横からやってくるのはアリア。
Arya looking for an opportunity to just throw some rockets over the wall, add a little extra poke damage.
プレッシャーを使って。
Will they push open this mid lane turret, their first turret of the game?
なんと赤に成功はクレストゲーミングアクトです。
これ両チームにとっても勝負どころ
Well,
が
this will set CGA up in a great position. They can grab the Rift Herald for themselves and then immediately they'll hold on to it until they can put it bot lane when this next Infernal Drake spawns up. But it doesn't look like their call is for the Rift Herald just yet, taking a safe play to back, giving more priority over to the Drake, and understandably so, but we'll watch Blank over the wall here. Just a wonderful hook by Grendel. There's not a whole lot you can really do if you are Sengoku there,
ピレアン選手もうまく
other than try and harass as much as possible. That being said,
逃げることには成功しましたが、まあそれでもやはりファーストタワー、ミッドファーストタワーまでつなげられてしまっていますし、
you can see Grendel wandering up here. He wants to set up vision, but
ここです
they
ね。
know also how important it is to get towards Soul Point, so
ドラゴン
a little bit risky if they end up losing a pick
次
here.
は渡すわけにはいかないので、これ無視して上側でゲームを作るというのはもう取れないんですよね、戦術。
Hyperion taking a back as well, likely resetting,
ガンゴとしては
getting ready for this Drake when it comes up.
しましたね、先ほどのボルトで。クロック変えてますから。
40 seconds to its spawn. And at this point, I'm still a little bit worried about CGA's overall comp. No Trinity Force on Arya, no Runans over on to Gango, or at least no second crit item, whatever that may be.
経験値が高いです。
It's sort of,
装備的にもかなりもうすでにダメージ
it's a little bit worrying when you look at that as, are they particularly ready for a team fight? But realistically, with only a Murdermana on the Ezreal, he's not exactly huge in the damage department either.
さあ
Extra CDR will help on that one.
3つ目のドラゴン、インファーナルドレイク
Just being able to poke and prod as much as you can. Well,
まあこの時間帯集団戦の
Camille is here. They will be opting in for the Camille on the team fight, not sending it to split and draw pressure. Sengoku have inside track, but not enough agency to really start it just yet. Blank can dash away to safety at any moment. The True Shot Barrage gonna
ただダメージは思うように高くはないか。
get a little bit of chip damage over to the side of CGA. That Gango will heal right away with
できます。アリアが少し
Legend Bloodline and Severum healing.
なんとか視界の主導権を取っていきたい。さあ今ユニカが赤トリンケットを使って
And now Sengoku
ワードを消して
kind of have to figure out where they're going here. Grendel finds another good hook, but one that CGA is in no position to really capitalize off of.
さあこれでおおよそ後ろにテレポートできるワードは消せたでしょう。もう一本追加
Grendel
した
can still look for more. It's not a bad look to even go for, but As Sengoku are starting up the Drake, they're gonna put the pressure on here. As this Dragon Dance is lasting so long. If they just had Opperman off on the flank, he'd be able to split, but the Call of Forge God is going to be the one that starts things off here. Half HP over to Yutono Mayashi. Lee Sin's going to be the one that grabs up the Drake, as Nap is going to get the trade kill onto him. Now, with the final chapter rooting up so many members, but Sengoku can't exactly get all the way into this fight, as CGA are going to walk away with the cake and eat it too, securing the not getting the Drake is fine. They will just be able to clean up a number of kills, as Arya and Gango picking up a lot of gold in that fight. And this was sort of the issue that I think was presenting itself with Sengoku, where your only real form of ranged damage is Galio Q and Ezreal, but now Ezreal's just too far behind, and there's nothing you can really do to Gango in this scenario. So Call of the Forge God comes in, and Blank is just fishing for an angle. He has to abandon his team to even go for it. Now that you've gotten the opportunity, you are just not long for this world. And you can see they try to go onto Gango, but there's no one that can really get all the way in onto him. And Camille is not exactly a huge team fight threat. Had Hextech Ultimatum and didn't want to take the all-in with it, so we'll see if Sengoku can really find the stride that their comp they have would be looking for. And stiffly favored in the side of CGA here. The AI genuinely believing in their ability. And I sort of worry a little bit when we look at Sengoku's comp, is that you understand the idea, right? It's send the Camille in with a Yumi just to keep him safe. Galio R in, create space for Ezreal and Lee. The problem is that Aphelios is the one champion that you cannot send a melee champ into. Already 4-2 with Conquer. If he has Chakrams, that's just going to be a dead Camille before anything can really happen. But that also means you're pushing past Ornn, you're pushing past Smokescreen, you're pushing past Box and Flay from Grendel. CGA definitely getting a lot of the better end of this draft, and we'll see if they're able to pilot this one all the way through, as a couple of the core items are coming in now for their carries. CGA wandering up here. They will just start up the Baron, but they did end up autoing the ward, so they did show that they were on it. Here comes Sengoku trying to see if they can find a fight here. Grendel's looking for opportunities where he finds them, but Unika's sticking on the Baron while the rest of his team is trying to kite away. Call of the Forge God is ready and aimed. Should Nap need it, but they're going to make the call to just back away from the Baron for now. CGA are running around the back end of the jungle here. They're coming over the wall here. Call of the Forge God's going to come in. As now Opperman is just going to be soloing CGA on the other end of the side. Here comes the hero's entrance. The taunt is good onto Aphelios. That's a great way to get things started for Sengoku, as now they can back up, but they want to look for more. Here comes the hero's punch. Throws the Q. Barely going to be able to burn down Grendel as well. That's going to be a 2 for none found by Sengoku. Good sidestep on the True Shot Barrage coming out from the Ezreal, as Sengoku are just going to start up the Baron here. Unica thinking about a steal opportunity. Has flash, no heal, so would be all he could do to steal the Baron here. Arya looking to just trying to find his way in, throwing rockets. Nap trying to pose his presence as well, but Unica flashes in just a little bit too late. I don't think he had vision, and it ends up going the way of Sengoku in the end. It was actually not a great smite by Blank. I think he smited early. I would have to go back and watch one more time, but I believe Blank actually smited early. We'll see how this all played out here from the top. So this is actually pretty much exactly what I was talking about with this is how Sengoku's comp needs to operate. And you can see Gengo does his best to try and get something started, but then Camille is already in your face. Then there's a Galio waiting for you holding W. And the rest of the members of CGA just aren't equipped to punish that as readily. Without, of course, Koriki getting a couple more items in him.
テクステックアルティメイタムそのまま食らってしまいましたね。
そうですね。
さあそしてこれで戦国はインファーナル2つ目を重ねることができました。
Now, as we're kind of spending a little bit of time just looking across the map, I am starting to wonder if Sengoku can really kind of make the most of this Baron when it comes to getting a necessary gold advantage to pose a threat, because CGA are just going to be happy to pick up a lot of these waves, get towards their core items. Well, meanwhile, I worry about a little bit of decay on the side of Sengoku, especially if CGA just start up team fights every time they can ring the Orn Horn. Will remain to be seen for now, but as it looks like the pressure goes towards the mid lane as a good amount of chunk from the Galio Q, followed up by the Ezreal ultimate just to knock them down a couple pegs. Gives them a little bit more room to pressure on to the last of the mid lane turrets. 45 seconds on the Baron, so they got plenty of time to play with. And now, with Caddy minions just doing the work that they can, Opperman is in the top lane, bringing in the next wave, as CGA are just doing everything that they can to keep clearing out these waves over and over. And it's very hard to kind of push into this comp in general, but here comes a package. He's going to all in onto Arya to see if he can get a kill, but the Zhonya's will keep him safe for now. Opperman's just going to burn down to ignite. No, he's actually going to live. You have all of the members of CGA rotating to try and punish Opperman there, and they end up losing the inhibitor for it, not even getting the kill in the end. Actually, it was not Ignite, it was just the heal cut coming out from Gengo. Krendel was not, unfortunately, in Ignite range to make that one happen. That being said, it was still very close to try and get a kill onto Opperman, but narrowly cheating death goes the Camille, and that is an open inhibitor that favors Sengoku and possibly gives them opportunity to more aggressively fight for vision, or to even look at this bot lane and try to knock down the last of those outer turrets and collect a bit of that extra gold sitting on the table. For now, though, we'll enjoy a little bit of a lull state before the next dragon comes up. And the nice thing for Sengoku is that I did talk about how their comp is a little bit low damage, but stacking multiple Infernal Drakes, no comp ends up being low damage. Should that end up being the case for this one, CGA still have a little ways to go before all of their carries are online. Getting towards RFC on Arya is always a big help in this kind of a game, as well as the second crit item. Gengo's going to need all the damage he can get when it comes to deterring members of Sengoku from diving on him. While Unica's waiting around to try and pick up the wave, Sengoku are going to do what we mentioned earlier, just grab up a free turret. Effectively a little money bag of gold sitting on the rift that doesn't cost them a whole lot to go ahead and take, as the jungle on both sides is scoured. Waves in the top lane are slow pushing. Sengoku are here in force and not looking for anything too crazy aggressive, as for the most part they'll be backing up for the Infernal Drake when it spawns. Gonna try to grab both that and Baron before they really look for a game end, unless Snap wants to start things off. Knockup's good onto Yutomi Miyashi. Flash is good from Grendel. That's going to be a dead Ezreal, as now Sengoku are routed with the Drake coming up here a little bit behind Ezreal's death. Opperman will be able to get an inhibitor for it, so that will draw a lot of pressure. But now Sengoku really need to think about if they're going to go for Baron again. And it opens up an opportunity for CGA to try to grab this Infernal Drake and hopefully put themselves to soul point. But it looks like CGA have their eyes set on the Baron. They're gonna go ahead and grab this one up. And it doesn't look like Sengoku want to trade. It looks like they want to fight for it. Opperman, Pyrion, and Blank are all walking up here. But over the wall, Gengo actually just soloed him. No Moonlight Vigil needed. That's a Latios for you, as Pyrion just goes down, and the smite is good from Unica. Gets the Baron there. Grendel's going to be the one sacrificing his life to keep the rest of the members of Sengoku away, but a good find nonetheless, as CGA need to be a little bit careful about where they choose to back. They know they had Blank running up on him, so it will take... They will be able to just walk back to Fountain at this point, and now with CGA picking up a Baron, extends their hold a little bit longer and gives them their carries more times to build up a bit of items. So not a bad deal if you are CGA here. While on the side of Sengoku, they are just going to be able to grab up the third Infernal Drake, putting them closer to Soul. The extra damage will really start to make a difference, especially when you get that spike in damage after the Infernal Soul is captured. And CGA have not been the most vigilant about contesting for these Drakes, just due to how risky so many of these fights have been. And now, A-ramming it up into the mid lane. CGA are looking to take the team fight. Sengoku looking to give it to them, as Nap can engage whenever he pleases. He has the Call of the Forge God. He's trying to see how close he can get Blank to walk up here. He will end up backing away. Will CGA continue the A-ram? They're losing time as the Baron or as the super minions are up towards the top side of things. Will be Nap going ahead to clear out the wave, give them a little bit more space. And this is a very risky portion for CGA. It's very hard to posture for a fight with inhibitors down. But luckily, they do have enough lane clear that it's not too difficult for them to try and hold on to what they got. And as we go ahead and run through the rest of this game, CGA are still just holding on for dear life, waiting out this Baron, really only as a defensive tool. But what happens when it is gone is up to Sengoku. If they're going to look to try and push the pressure on, or if they're going to let this one kind of pass over. Sengoku for now are just clearing out wave after wave, grabbing up what gold they can. For Camille being 3-0-3, they're not exactly too keen on sending them in the split push just due to the engage range of Ornn the second they lose sight of him. Speaking of just that, Call of the Forge God's gonna come through. A huge amount of knockups coming out there as a Moonlight Vigil rips through the lines with a flamethrower. This is CGA's fight to win, as that's gonna be a clean triple kill, or double kill, given over. A lot of summoners burned, but Blank, Yutori Meyeshi, and NT remain. Beautiful engage coming out from Nap. Finds so many members there with the Call of the Forge God into the E knockup off the dead turret there. Now, fortunately for Sengoku, is that Ezreal is probably the best champion to have alive here alongside the Yumi in terms of defending the base. That being said, CGA have opportunity to really make a play happen here. Hopefully that ult CDR will kick in and allow Nap to get a re-engage going. They will be able to pressure down that turret. Not going to stick it out any longer than they need to. Respawn's coming in from the side of Sengoku, so watch Nap one more time. Just a beautiful knockup. Gets 4 here if you're counting the Yumi here, and then 3. And then just the Moonlight Vigil Flamethrower combo does so much damage while there is just nothing they can do. I do like the look from Pyrian there. He gets a great taunt onto multiple members, but at that point the fight was just kind of lost. There's nothing that you're really hoping to achieve with that massive W. And CGA have officially scaled, so now Sengoku are really going to need to be careful about how close you step to this Aphelios. Those are 2 marksmen that can easily start burning a lot of damage into your team. And as they wait for the Infernal Drake to spawn up here, CGA are going to be the ones to have first priority on that up. Double pinking the bush there, asserting themselves over the single pink ward that Sengoku has put there, but CGA still need to balance out their mid lane priority, as they can't exactly just give inside track to mid and end up losing 2 inhibitors for 1 Infernal Drake. For what it would mean later on, as another Call of the Forge Gods coming in, this time with another couple knockups. Gonna be able to get onto Pyrian there, but no follow-up CC will mean that Corki, going a little bit too deep there, ends up getting burned down, as now Blank trying to find something, ends up losing his own life. Gango's just going forward with the Chakrams, doing so much damage. The taunt will come in, but will it be enough? As a great re-engage there from Opperman to find a kill, but it might be too little too late, as the rest of CGA are still high enough HP that it won't matter. Ranged auto over the wall, over the shoulder of the cat there to bounce NT back in. CGA are going to pull this one out over Sengoku, and now they're going to cement themselves as the 2nd place team. Taunting teleport there from Nap, as they know the game is over, and you gotta believe they're happy about this one. This is one that means so much for their standings. Are they not going to go for the... They're not going to be able to get the game end. That is tragic. You already flashed and teleported in their face. What are you doing, CGA? Of course, you possibly have to be looking at the safe route there with single-digit respawn timers on the side of Sengoku, and you don't have your 2 main damage sources to knock down these turrets. Let's hope this doesn't come back to bite him as we watch this one more time. The ulti comes out here, and you gotta love the play from Sengoku that they get off here. Beautiful target selection, get onto Corki there, but there's just so much damage here on the side of CGA, while Gango just tries to be the big dog on campus. Ends up getting re-engaged on and going down just due to overzealous Aphelios nature. And then Sengoku, you're getting great re-engages, but at this point, your comp is scaled, and you're going to need perfect play to try and find a way out of this game. Well, CGA can use this inhibitor open to grab a Baron opportunity. Full build on the Aphelios, and Corki soon to follow after. CGA might just be looking for an opportunity to end the game here. Blank's got to find himself looking around here, seeing what he can do, but CGA making the call to go back to the Baron now. It's a little bit of disjointed. They should have been on the Baron while this wave was coming in, but with how much damage they have, I don't expect this Baron to last very long. True Shot Barrage coming in across, but the Baron is already gone. No time to really go for a steal, as Blank's gonna be walking in the face of Nap. A little bit interesting here, but the rest of Sengoku's a little bit disjointed. They're finding their way onto Gango, as he is just healing so much through the Conqueror. Eventually is going to fall down, as Sengoku may have just found themselves in a great opportunity. Opperman looking to make the most of this fight, as Arya is going to go down as well. Sengoku looking for a re-engage here. The Yumi just putting in so much work in this one. allowing Opperman and Blank to really just run this fight over and have so much extra HP in the bank. This may just be an ace from Sengoku, and that is a terrible sign for CGA. You get the Baron, sure, but you have completely lost everything in its wake. Losing waves to the top and bot lane is far from SG's concerns, as they can possibly just scour away some of the jungle. They'll have a lot of gold to be cashing in on. But ultimately, this play means nothing for either side, as both will just be resets. Overall, we'll watch as Camille is just all in onto Gango, and there's no one that is really peeling for him. Snap is just way too far away for peel. Unica only has Smokescreen to really offer him, as he is just kind of locked in the Hextech ultimatum with the Camille. Setting up the Octagon is a great way out of this one, and if it's sort of an interesting way to be playing out these fights, as look at the damage coming out. Blank and Opperman just putting the team on their back, as Utomi actually wasn't able to find nearly any value there. Now if you are Sengoku, you're really worried about Gango's GA timer. That is going to be the biggest killer in this game. Yeah, GA, the spectators are on my side as they look at the GA timer coming up here. It's very difficult to do that through GA. You saw how close the fights were. And GA is really going to put a stop to that sort of thing on the side of CGA. They have plenty of damage and soul points on both sides. That is probably going to be the point where this game breaks in either direction. Meanwhile, CGA are going to look to see if they can grab up another inhibitor worth of pressure to give themselves a chance at this, or give themselves safer bet on this Infernal Drake. Sengoku trying to see what they can find here. You can see Opperman looping around the other side. Grendel throwing a hook to let him know he's there, but not finding anything just yet. Gango walking forward here. He wants to do damage to that turret. They know what they can get if they get this inhibitor, but they can't risk it all for it. Nap is going to throw the ultimate at Yutoto Miyashi. Grendel not going to be able to find the hook there, and here comes the re-engage. Opperman has Arya right where he wants him. He will be able to get him there, as the beautiful play from Pyrian. The hero's entrance into taunt means so much, but Gango's flamethrowers are just burning the hearts of Sengoku and any chances they had. That is what a late game Aphelios does. That is why you don't melee dive in Aphelios, as that flamethrower just burned through the lines of Sengoku. Crest Gaming Act are going to pull this one out from the ashes of an Aphelios flamethrower. Beautifully done there from CGA. As one of the closest games we've seen this week, CGA are going to cement themselves in second place at the bitter end. Thank you all for tuning in. I hope you have enjoyed it. I have been Dr. No. If you have enjoyed, go ahead and leave a follow below here on my Twitch. You can also follow me up on my Twitter, which is down below. Thank you all for tuning in, and I hope you will all be returning for week 4 to see more of this kind of action. What a game to end it off on, but I will be signing off. Here's hoping you all stay safe, and I'll see you all next week.